Welcome everybody. Today we're going to be talking about the Final Fantasy III stats. They're not overly complicated. They're generally pretty much a staple for the rest of the series after it, but we'll go over a few things. First off, here's the main screen. Nothing fancy. So let's focus on the north area. Much like nothing changed from Final Fantasy 1. First we have the character sprite. This will change depending on what job you have selected. And then we have the name, which is maximum 6 characters. This is the name of the job, the current job your character is equipped with. Nothing fancy. Skill. Now this is what's most important, is the skill point is basically your job level. The higher this is, certain proficiencies you'll get in that job, such as hit rate and magic damage multiplier, evade multiplier, stuff like that. So you'll take less damage, you'll dish out more damage, and that's what this skill is sort of used for. Next we have the basic levels. So what level you're on, current number of experience, and then your next level experience needed for your next level. Nothing complicated. Then we have the HP and MP, which is very similar to Final Fantasy 1. So let's now focus on the bottom left corner. This is where all your raw stats are. These stats are the ones that affect the battle calculations for damage. So first one is strength. Strength calculates basically just attack power and base damage. That's about all it does. Agility. Now agility has a pretty big function here. It determines your attack and defense multiplier. This means the higher your agility is, the more times you'll either attack or less attack you'll take from an enemy. So that's that little number that says like hit times 4 or whatever. The defense multiplier you don't see, it's a hidden one. That's basically just it subtracts the hit count that the enemy causes from your defense multiplier. Next one is vitality. Vitality is basic raw defense, much like the strength. It also determines your HP growth. Now HP is the only stat that's transferable through jobs. So every time you gain a level, if you have the higher vitality you have, the more HP you'll gain. So if you want to get high HP just before you level up, switch that character to a higher vitality job just before you level up, and you'll have really good HP for every character. Next is intelligence. Intelligence affects a lot. It affects the black magic and summon magic both. It affects the attack damage as well as attack multiplier and the hit percent of spells. Now the magic multiplier and the hit percent is a hidden stat. You won't see it. A multiplier just basically just causes more damage. It's much like the attack multiplier. It'll cause more damage to an enemy when you use magic, and hit is basically like your accuracy, if the spell will hit or not. It also affects your magic evasion, magic damage, overall magic damage, overall magic hit percent, magic attack multiplier, magic defense multiplier, and base damage for magic. Those bottom few, those are overall magic, not just specific to black or summon magic. Next is spirit. Spirit affects, now although white magic attack power is only for arrow, it also affects your stuff like cure. It just works opposite. Same with the multiplier. So the higher the multiplier, the more damage or cure will work. as well as your magic evasion and your magic defense multiplier. Now we're going to move on to the right side of the lower bottom, and the first one we have is attack. Attack is basically determined by the weapon strength, and then your base strength divided by 4, and then you have the weapon multiplier, which is basically calculated by using the agility and level. So basically, the higher your level and your agility, the more times you'll attack. The more times you'll attack, the more damage you'll do. Next is your hit percent. This basically determines each weapon has its own sort of hit percent associated. Some are more accurate than others, as well as your agility and skill. So this is one reason why you want your skill up. Is because if you don't have your skill up, you'll have a lot of trouble. You'll be missing most of the time when you first get a job. When you transfer job to the transition period, you'll notice it's not as effective. But if you work at it, it will slowly become much, much more effective. Next one is magic defense. Basically, the armor and vitality determines your overall defense. But it also has defense multiplier, which is determined by your agility level and number of shields you have. If you have 2 shields, well, you'll have more defense. You can't really attack, but you got more defense. Damage multiplier, like I said, it subtracts from the attack multiplier, causing less damage to you. Now, unfortunately, if you do not have a shield, you will suffer much, much more damage. You'll notice that it's agility by 32. So if your agility was, say, 32 and you had a shield on, you get 2 plus 2 plus 1 would be 5, as opposed to 2. So equipping a shield does actually help. And next one we have the evade is just simply each piece of armor, much like the hit percent of weapons, has its own evasion percentile. And it is added with your agility divided by 4. So this is why certain things like the ninja and the thief are able to evade a lot better than some other characters, because they have really, really high agility rates. Next one we have the magic defense. This is basically your overall defense from magic, and it's determined by the armor. That's how it's just basically about the armor equips. Each armor has sort of a defense to magic, but what really is the big disher outer is the magic defense multiplier, much like the defense multiplier. The higher that value is, the less damage you'll take from the attack multiplier of the enemy, and that's by having good intelligence, spirits, and agility. I don't know how agility factors into magic defense, but apparently it does. The final one is magic evade, and it's basically just determined by your spirit and your intelligence. So mostly this is why the white mage and the black mage or high mage types generally take less damage. The next thing we're going to talk about is quickly how to change jobs. So first things first. We have the top right corner there. You have the number of capacity points, or career points, or whatever the hell you want to call it. This is not used in the DS version, you don't have to worry about this, but this is basically a way to prevent you from constantly switching jobs. It's kind of annoying, but they tried. So, on the first screen here, you'll notice that fighter is 0, because he's currently equipped as a fighter, but if he goes to a knight, he's only going to require 7 capacity points, versus going to a black mage, which requires 16. So basically how it works is if you're changing jobs within the same sort of class, so melee to melee, you will not require as much career points. But if you're trying to switch class between melee and magic, or mage and melee, you're going to have a lot increase. The other thing also that changes is the fact that if you're switching between higher classes. So you notice there's a big jump from Viking to Knight. Well, Viking's a lot stronger than a Knight, and it's a slightly higher class than the Knight is, so it costs a little more career points to get back. But you'll also notice the Black Wizard is increased even more. But you will notice that the fighter is at 0. Well, why is this? This is because if you have a really high skill level in that class, it won't cost as much to transfer classes. So say your fighter has 99 skill levels, and you're currently a black mage. If you have a really high skill level in the fighter, you'll be able to switch to the fighter, like a mage type, to the melee type, without using any CP at all. So it's a good reason to get your skills up, but also is because it makes it easier to transfer. So that's everything for the skills here. Hopefully that helps you a bit more understanding how the basic mechanics of the game works. And if there's any questions, let me know. Thank you for watching, and have a good day. Bye.